All right, welcome to the Straight Talk Podcast with Johnny Mo. I am Johnny Mo, retired Air Force C-130 flight engineer, 23 and a half years of service, son, father, husband, brother, uncle, veteran, advocate, whatever else you want to say. I'm an alcoholic, 12 years sober, April 26, 2008 is my sobriety date. Suicide survivor of just over 4 years. This podcast is my therapy for PTSD and anxiety, and just an outreach, a community outreach for veterans or regular civilians to try to understand the military community a little bit more and to raise our network of helping individuals with Save 22 and all the other veteran service organizations that are available that people might not know about. So that's what we're doing now. Today's guest is Christina. She's got a hell of a story, and she's in a hell of a position right now. I just lost my notes for Christina. Where did it go? Wonderful. So this day's starting out wonderful, isn't it? Oh, son of a gun. All right, there it is. Christina is the current executive director of Dogs for Our Brave. You may remember Dogs for Our Brave from our guest, Chris Miller, and his dog, Zulu. An absolutely amazing organization. She's in charge of the fundraising, marketing, the community outreach for Dogs for Our Brave. She is a military brat. Her dad served 25 years in the Navy. She's lived in probably 37 different houses in her lifetime, she said. She's a 2005 graduate of Virginia Tech. She's a former caretaker of the Crown Ridge Tiger Sanctuary. Yes, she worked with live tigers. She's the former executive director of the St. Charles Humane Society in Missouri. She is a trained Irish dancer. And she's the current left tackle for the Women's Football Alliance 4-year reigning champion, St. Louis Slam. And gentlemen, she's single.
Yep, single.
Welcome, Christina.
Thanks for having me.
No, I appreciate you doing this. You know, Chris really raised my eyes when I got to meet him and Zulu and how incredible she is. And I just wanted to have you guys on to kind of raise awareness and build our network. You know, you and I talked last week and we agreed that Save 22 can use you as our outreach or our network for people when they say that they need some assistance dogs, therapy dogs, whatever we're going to call them. You agreed to add Save 22 to your network and your outreach as well. So that, I think that's a fantastic partnership. So thank you very much for that. But I have to know, a trained Irish dancer and a football tackle?
Yes. So growing up, I danced. My mom stuck me into ballet and tap dance and all of that good stuff. And I was a pageant princess, so I used dance as my talent. And I just got too good at tap dancing, so I had to figure out something challenging. And that was when like the big bang of Riverdance started hitting the waves of the USA. So I got into that, started learning that, used that as my talent. But I got into football in my 20s. I played sports all my life. I'm an only child, so my dad really wanted to have a boy. And so I was a pageant princess for my mom and an athlete for my dad. And the dance really actually plays a big part. It helps keep me agile. I continued tap dancing in my rookie year in the WFA, and I became a third-team All-American left tackle my rookie year. And I think that dance helps. It keeps you limber. Even at Virginia Tech, I remember I took creative dance, and it was a room full of football players, so super fun. And obviously, we've seen the football players on Dancing with the Stars. So it all comes together. It all works.
Lynn Swann, you know, Hall of Fame wide receiver for Pittsburgh. You know, he was a ballet guy, you know. I got no problem with it. If I could dance, I would. But I look horrible. You know that Oh, I can't remember the movie now, but Will Smith and that one comedian, he's got to learn to do.
Hitch. The
Oh,
movie's
Hitch.
Hitch.
So he does the Q-tip and throws it away, and
Oh
white man
yeah.
overbite. Yeah, that's me. Yeah,
Those
I
are
am.
the good moves.
So tell me about Dogs for Our Brave. How did
Dogs
they
for Our
start?
Brave, we are a nonprofit organization. We were founded in 2014 by Andy Gladstein. So Andy was trying to think of a unique anniversary gift for his wife. She is the daughter of a military man, and so the military is near and dear to her heart as well. And he was talking to a buddy and came up with this idea. And he's like, hey, why don't you have a service dog trained for a veteran in her honor? And Andy was like, what are you talking about? So he started learning about it. The first dog that was trained was Champ, and that was given to Andrew Smith. And we have a video of that on our website and our YouTube page, but be prepared to pull out some tissues because it's a pretty emotional video. It was a big surprise for Marilyn, and she says, you know, he couldn't have come up with a better anniversary gift. And from there, Andy started learning about the 22 a day. He started learning the impact that service dogs can have on these wounded veterans. And he decided that he had to do something to make a difference. So he founded the organization and hired a trainer, started to train a couple of dogs. He met some soldiers at Walter Reed who introduced him to other soldiers. It was kind of a word of mouth, which it really still is. A lot of our veterans are referrals. And now here we are, 2021. We have headquarters here in St. Louis. We have our own training facility. We have 7 dogs in training. We have a 5-member staff. And 2020, we pumped out 3 service dogs. So saving 3 dogs, saving 3 veterans, because we use rescue dogs and transport dogs in our program instead of breeding them. So we really say you're saving 2 lives at once.
What's a transport dog?
So if they're being transported from maybe from the south, from a different shelter somewhere else, we can intercept that transport so they don't have to go back into a shelter environment.
So you don't necessarily get a puppy at 8 weeks and start.
Very rarely do we have puppies. We have one right now. She is 16 weeks, and she was going to be a breeder dog on a farm here in Missouri. And somebody decided that they didn't appreciate that lifestyle for her, and they were able to trade some artwork for her, and they called us and said, do you want this puppy? So this will actually only be our 2nd puppy that we're raising. Usually the dogs we get are 8 months to a little over a year.
Oh, wow. That's amazing. I saw it, but I thought that no way they have to start as a puppy, but you don't, I guess. And
no.
you can break them of any bad habits. And now do you have like a, I don't know, a questionnaire that you have to go through with these dogs? And I mean, questionnaire is not a good word, but like, do you have to
they go through an assessment.
Assessment. That's the word. Thank you.
Yes. So our training team, our head trainer communicates a lot with the contacts within the shelter world and the rescue world. And then he'll do an assessment on the dog before there's a decision that the dog can make it in the program. So they have to have a drive. They have to be motivated by some kind of reward, whether it's a ball or food or something like that. They have to be able to recover from a quick reaction. So if you open up an umbrella, can they react and then recover from it and kind of be like, oh, okay, that's cool, no big deal. So there's just a small assessment that happens and tests their temperament. And if it all works out, then we bring them in.
Wow. Any specific breeds?
Absolutely not.
Any that you won't work with?
We probably will not continue with German Shepherds.
Why is that?
Only because they are very good working dogs, military and police, because they bond to one person very easily and very quickly. And so it's very hard for them to go through our 18 months of working with 4 different trainers and then transition to being with a veteran. So they've got to break the bond that they made with these 4 people and try to establish one with this veteran. it's just a challenging mental piece of the breed.
Yeah, I think that would be a little difficult, especially if they didn't bond with their veteran afterward. That would be, yeah. I don't think I'd want anything to do with that.
But otherwise, I mean, obviously the lab characteristics are going to be our favorites, but we have 2 mutts that we just did DNA tests on that are just a Heinz 57 mixture of everything. So it doesn't really matter. It just matters more on that dog's temperament, which even if you're breeding, you're going to get different personalities out of every single dog.
Right. Right. So good news. I just got a text from Chris. He's available at 10:45.
Okay.
So we'll be able to hook you two up again and talk to one of your recipients and how great that process has worked out, so the listeners can actually hear the joy, I guess, the excitement and how much it's helped Chris while we still have you on the show. I think
Wonderful.
that would be great. So you currently have 7 dogs in place. Tell me about their process. Once you get them in and you've assessed them and you think that they're going to work, how do you train a dog to be? I mean, well, all right, let's go with this. What do you train the dogs for? I know what Zulu does. Is that what all your dogs do?
Ideally, they all have those capabilities. Now, there's some customization. A veteran that is a double amputee is going to have a little bit different needs than like Chris, who just has that leg brace and has some challenges with his back. So all the dogs learn to retrieve items, to carry items. They know how to turn a light on and off. They know how to go get help. They know how to get something out of the fridge, like get a bottle of water, close the dishwasher, close doors, put something in a basket. So that helps. And Chris will be able to attest to that. But that helps if the veterans have kids and it's the end of the night and the toys are all over the living room and you just can't muster up that energy to get on the floor and try to pick up all the toys. You can have your service dog do that. Put them in the basket. They can send items. So I know Chris has done this as well. And when he was in his last house that had an upstairs and he struggled with those stairs, he could have Zulu take one of the boys' blankets and send it upstairs, and the blanket would be up there ready to tuck him in. So it gives Chris, it's just a little detail that we don't think about if we're completely able to be able to send an item to another room.
Wow. Yeah, it's not something you would think about. Now, if you're a parent and a veteran and you just need help cleaning up your kids' toys, please don't call Christina.
No, please don't. No. The dogs also, they can help brace. And so if you struggle to be able to get out of the chair, or some of our double amputees that are going to get down on the floor, or they're on the floor getting back up in their chair, the dog can actually stabilize and be a bracing piece for them. They learn all commands surrounding a wheelchair, a walker, a rollator, a cane, crutches, any medical equipment. They will be trained and desensitized around so it doesn't bother them. They learn to tuck themselves under a wheelchair so they know how to get out of the way. They work on restaurant skills, so they don't try to jump on a waitress with a tray full of food. They get under the table.
Funny you say that, because that's where I met Chris at. I met Chris at an Applebee's in Alliance here, and Zulu was amazing. I mean, absolutely no leash. She's got her paw covers on. She pees on command. He sends her off to go pee as soon as they get out of the truck. They come back. They walk up with us. As soon as Chris finds his seat, Zulu sits down, lays down underneath the table. And one of the first things I said to Chris was, is there anything I need to know about Zulu? Should I not do this, or should I do this or that? And he goes, no, man, it's just my dog. Oh, okay. Like, with other service dogs, they don't want you to pet or approach or anything like that. And he said, this is my dog. She loves me. I love her. She knows when I move, I have something to do. I noticed with him, because he's got a pretty unique injury where, he fell down a 50-foot cliff and crushed a bunch of stuff. And sometimes he has to lean one way, sometimes he has to lean another. And you can watch Zulu take that bracing depending on which way he's leaning. It's incredible. And he dropped a bottle of water getting into the truck, and I bent down to pick it up, and he goes, "Don't do that." What? And he goes, "Watch this." And he just, I don't know, pick, I think was the word that he used with her, or pick up or something. And she jumped right out of the truck, picked it up, sat down, and handed it to him. I just, crazy. I can't get my dog to lay still for longer than 20 seconds,
Yeah, but my dog at home is pretty, she can sit, and she's kind of chubby, so she lays down very easily. But other than that, not really doing anything else. And people always expect that I'm gonna have a dog that's like super trained, and I'm like, nope. No.
So on that, I mean, you have a dog, I have a dog. I wouldn't qualify for a dog, would I? Because I currently have a dog.
So in our program, you cannot have a companion pet dog in the house. You can have a cat, you can have other critters. We have an office cat here named Dragon, and he basically teaches the dogs that cats are fine. Don't try to eat me. I will swat you in the face. So it's okay if they have a cat. And then a lot of our veterans have taken their families to live on larger properties or more rural areas. And so the dogs are around horses and cows and chickens. And they're basically like, oh, there's just some more animals around. It doesn't faze them at that point.
That's good. That's good to hear. What's the requirement for a veteran to qualify for a service or mobility dog?
So for our program, you do have to have been wounded while in service. You don't have to have been wounded in combat. You just have to have been serving. When you sustained your wounds, that could be physical, amputation, something like that. It could just be back injuries, neck injuries. We have some applicants from Airborne Division, and those jumps really just take a toll on your body.
Well, not according to the VA, they don't, but yeah.
Yeah. Especially the females, when your jump pack weighs twice as much as you actually weigh, it's going to do some damage. But then also traumatic brain injuries and PTSD issues, nightmares, things like that all fall under those categories as well.
Nightmares, really?
Mm-hmm. So the night terrors is something that most of our veterans experience, most of our applicants and working dog veteran pairs. So we actually train our dogs to interrupt nightmares. So they learn cues of changes in breathing. If you start thrashing around or shaking your head or mumbling, they'll get up, start licking your face, or put their paw on your face, or try to jump on you, and they will try to wake you up out of that nightmare.
Wow. And how does the veteran react to the dog waking them up? Because I know that my wife, when I'm doing it, my wife would very gently, very easily, tap me, gentle push, not real loud. And I still wake up swinging sometimes. How do the veterans tend to react with the dog?
We haven't had any kind of feedback that there's been negative reaction. And I don't know if it's the actual touch of the dog licking you versus a person like putting their hands on you, or even just their paws touching you. It's a different type of pressure.
Right.
And so I don't know if the unconscious brain just is like, oh, okay, this is safe, it's okay. I don't have enough smarts to answer that one.
How do you train a dog to recognize that? Obviously you can't have people go to sleep at work. How would you train someone for this?
So the training staff, we have 2 futons in our facility. And so when it's just one staff member that's in here, they'll turn all the lights down. They'll put on just like some classical music real low. They'll lay down on the futon. The dogs have to learn how to lay properly in the bed anyway. So they're going to work on that. And they will just have a nice quiet drift. And they don't drift off to sleep, but they'll start slowing down their breathing and start getting into a mode that would indicate that sleep is coming on. And then they start to fake all of the other cues. So start breathing heavily, start shaking their head, maybe thrashing a little bit in the bed. And then when the dog reacts, then they get a treat with their clicker. And so they start to have that positive reinforcement that this is something I'm supposed to do. And then they recognize that cue. So it's just like the cue of a hand signal to sit. When you're lifting your hand up to sit, they recognize that cue. So it's just training them on cues.
Nice. That's amazing.
But they'll do it with that bond. So we started training this because one of our veterans that had her dog or had his dog, he had nightmares. He was single at the time, and his dog would jump up on the bed and just wake him up until he, or start jumping on him until he woke up. And we were like, oh, okay, well, this is something that we need to focus on then.
Wow.
So
it's kind of an accidental find.
It is, but we take all the feedback. And that's the other thing with our program. Like, once one of our veterans is in our program, you are stuck with us. You don't just get a dog and we're like, all right, see ya. It was nice meeting you. Like, we are part of your family now. We're going to text you. We're going to call you. We're going to,
hey, don't jump ahead. You're going to ruin the show. Don't jump ahead. I wanted to do this in order.
Sorry. But they give us the feedback, and we're able to feed off of that with our training protocols. And then we have an annual visit. So the veterans come into St. Louis once a year, and we will sharpen up any kind of skills that they need or start any new ones. So this last time that Zulu was in town over the summer, she learned how to push the doors closed. So if Chris is already in bed and they need to close the bedroom door, she can go close that for him. And then she also learned to get help. So if he was to fall or something happen, she knows that she needs to go find another human and bring them to him.
Now, these extra skills that you teach, does a dog need to brush up on them? Does it need to have refresher? Because obviously we hope that he never has to get help. Mm-hmm. But let's say it's, a year or two down the road and Chris falls getting out of the track chair out in the middle of the field. Mm-hmm. Now it's been 2 years since he's used this command. Will the dog know it?
So all of our veterans have a list of daily training to do. So it's like homework. So whether they do it in the morning or at lunch or at night, they need to spend about 15 minutes every day working on training all of the things that they don't do daily. So that will help the dog to remember every day, this is something that I've got to keep in my brain.
Now, when you say get help, do they go find another human? Do they undo the phone?
They go find a human.
Wow.
We can train them if the veteran has like an emergency button, kind of like a life alert, but you can install that on the wall in your house. The dog can be taught to go push that button, and that would call the emergency response team to come in. But most people don't have that button in their house.
Correct.
And also most of our veterans won't wear a life alert button.
It's because we grew up with the help I fallen and I can't get up commercials. That's why.
I know, but sometimes you do fall and you can't get up.
I know.
But the dogs practice going from different rooms in our facility looking for a person. And the biggest piece that we struggle with on that is educating the public. So if you were in public, you were at the grocery store and a service dog comes up to you and they don't have a person with them, what are you going to do? So what we want you to do is go follow. The dog's going to lead you to where they need to go. What we don't want you to do is be like, oh, you're such a cute dog, and start snuggling them. So it's that educating the public piece about service dogs that's more challenging than actually training the veterans to be a handler.
I would agree with you on that one. The education of the public is definitely something that we need to do more of in a lot of situations. There are still employers who want nothing to do with veterans, whether we're injured or not injured. They don't want to hire us, and they'll find a reason not to, whether they think it's, for PTSD or anxiety or a liability issue, or, I've got, 2 rods and 6 screws in my back from a fractured back on active duty. And, luckily I've got a good employer myself who took that liability. but I have friends who were injured in a motorcycle accident and he can't get hired. They won't take the liability. Now, granted, he was a heavy equipment and a crane operator. So it's a little bit different, but they still should be able to find something for him,
Oh,
and
absolutely.
eventually, I think the education of the public, which is what Save 22 is about as well, raising awareness and educating. We have our yearly or our annual hike, the first weekend in May. I've told you about that. We hope you can come out for that. As of right now, we're pushing forward. We're pushing forward as if we're going to have it. So we'd love to have you over here at the first weekend in May, down at Carroll County, for our 6th annual raise awareness hike. So we're pushing, we're trying. Last year was a bit of a cluster with the COVID and the liability and the insurance and everything. So we didn't hold it, but we're going to make it twice as good this year. So we have to have our 5th and our 6th at the same time. So, again, educating the public. Look, we're all people, and, we think differently sometimes as veterans. We're more goal oriented, more driven. We don't like to take no for an answer.
No,
Bullheaded, stubborn.
But also very structured, and
structured is what, yes.
That is what's good for being a handler for a service dog. It is structure. And like Miller and Zulu, they've been together for 2.5 years. So it really, from the general public, it looks like a really well-trained pet dog. And Zulu is part of the family at this point.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
But it's not like that in the beginning. So the first 60 days, nobody in the house can interact with that dog. They can't look at the dog. They can't pet the dog, walk the dog, feed the dog, water the dog. It is only the veteran. And so that increases
and his boys probably had a tough time with that. My goodness.
So it increases that bond, and the dog imprints on the veteran and is like, okay, this is the person that is going to take care of me. So I'm going to take care of them. Now, after the 60 days, all right, when the vest comes off, all right, we can play, we can have family time, wrestle around on the ground. And that's the easiest way that we work with our veterans that have kids, is the transition of wearing a uniform. So when the dog has their vest on, they're in uniform and they're working just like a police officer, just like a firefighter, anything like that. And it really helps the kids in the house to understand, like, all right, this is mom or dad's dog, just like their wheelchair, just like their walker. It's a piece of medical equipment. And my favorite thing is, people are always like, why can't we pet a service dog? And I go, you don't ask people to touch their wheelchairs when they're out in public. You're not like, that's super cool, I really got to touch really cool. That Let me wheelchair. Touch that. You got those chrome spinners on that wheelchair. No, it's just a wheelchair. And that's how the public needs to think of service dogs. They're just a piece of medical equipment that they're focused on their human.
It's unfortunate that we have to bring that up, but and it is. I mean, they are an animal, and we've grown to love dogs as part of our family, but that's a tool. That's an aid for an individual that needs that tool, that needs that aid, to make life easier, to make life better for that individual. Right. And
we train the dogs to learn how to greet people. And that's why when you met Miller was like, oh, it's okay. If you're going to pet the dog, it's okay. Because Zulu's trained to know when she can meet somebody. All of our dogs learn when they can meet somebody. They don't just automatically want to go. Well, they do internally want to meet all the people.
Right.
But they learn, oh, no, I'm working right now. So until I get the command to say hello, I'm not going to do it.
And I'm glad you brought that up, because when he got out of the truck and Zulu got out of the truck, she was right next to him until he said, say hi to Johnny, or whatever whatever his term was. There's Chris right there. Oh my God, Chris, I'm going to put this in here. He said, okay, I'm trying to get undressed so I can be naked on the call. Really?
Yep. That's Chris.
All right. You know what? I'm going to let's take a quick 5-minute break so I can get Chris on the call. We're going to pause this. I need to do a little advertisement for my editor. So we're going to take a quick 5 and get Chris on the call with us so we can hear from him.
Okay.
Oh my God, I got a brain vapor lock again. This is crazy today. It's not even Monday and I'm vapor locking.
No.
Hey, Live Synthetic Oil is a Facebook page, and Ian Colmer is an independent AMSOIL distributor. He's also my editor and my decal guy. So find Live Synthetic Oil on Facebook and use code. Christina, what do you think? What code should we use today?
I think we should go with DFOB for Dogs for Our Brave.
DFOB, Delta Foxtrot Oscar Bravo. Dogs for Our Brave is your code today for 10% off your next order. You have to use this on the Facebook page. So Live Synthetic Oil on Facebook and message Ian. Tell him you subscribe to the podcast. Use code DFOB for 10% off your order. All right, welcome back to Straight Talk Podcast with Johnny Mo. Today's guest is Christina, Executive Director of Dogs for Our Brave, and we are now joined by 2018 recipient of Zulu, Chris Miller. Chris, how you doing, buddy?
Good. How you guys doing today?
Good. Hey, you guys might remember Chris from his episode where we talked about his injury and his recovery and how Zulu really changed his life. So I thought it would be a good idea to have both Christina and Chris today talk about the process of getting a dog and what Zulu has done for him. Chris's story on how he came to know about Dogs for Our Brave was pretty amazing. It was by accident, right? Down at Disney.
Yeah. When I flew my wife down to Walt Disney World to run that Princess run, we met Chris Roseberry, and he had his service dog there, and he's from that day forward pretty much changed my life forever.
Amazing. Yeah, you guys were down at Disney. He heard you talking about how long it was taking to get your dog, and he just kind of tapped you on the shoulder and said, "Hey, I hear you're looking for a dog," and the rest is history, huh?
Yeah, we pretty much you know what? It was that bond. You know, we were staying at the Shades of Green, the military resort. And, you know, it's just, you know, when you get around a bunch of other military guys, it's almost like, you know, you can almost instantly bond with certain people. And with me and Roseberry, that's, you know, kind of what happened. And I tell you what, there hasn't really been a day gone by that we haven't talked. I mean, he's become one of my best friends that, you know, ever in trouble and need this and that, just need somebody to talk to. He's always been there for me.
That's amazing. And Christina was talking before we got you on that when they deliver the dog to the veteran, they don't just go away. They are involved from here on out. They are part of your family now. So can you talk about that for a minute?
Yeah, one of the greatest things is it was family, and it is family. Since the start, when I first got that call, you know, saying, "Guess what, friend? You're getting a dog," and it was all crazy from there. And it was every week speaking, almost, you know, it's a long process, you know, a 2-year process but to have Zulu train how she is specifically for my needs to help with my, you know, disabilities and problems and issues that I have. That's the whole game changer there. And they not only, when I was, you know, lucky enough and blessed to be able to get Zulu, it's continuously ever since then. So we've been paired together now for, I can't believe it, 2.5 years, man. And it's like, still every day. I just talked to Christina on the phone not too long ago, Andy, Paul, the whole family from Sarah, and all the people that are combined with Dogs for Our Brave. And it's like, it's nice because if I got a question in any way, I call Christina and she's like on it now. And Paul, those guys, the team is nice because it's like, guess what? They don't forget. And they're there every step of the way. It's been amazing. And you know, 2.5 years to talk to them at least once or twice a week still, you know, I know it's a lot on their plate, but they step up, man. And I tell you what, they play a hell of a game, and freaking they'll watch it all the way to the end. And that's what they do, man. They never leave your side, kind of like Zulu.
That's fantastic. Now, Christina, you were talking earlier that you brought Chris and Zulu out for some extra training. Can you talk about that a little bit with how you do that with the veterans and the dogs?
So once the dog is with the veteran, we'd like to bring them back to St. Louis once a year at least to do some refreshers, make sure the health and wellness is good with the dog, make sure the veteran is sharp on all of his handling or her handling skills. And then we're also going to work on any new skills that the veteran might need as the disabilities develop, as your body gets older, as things are not working the same way. They might have new needs. And so Paul will work with the veteran, work with the dog, and get some new skills trained into that dog in that week. Give the veteran the tools to continue that training when they go home. Plus, we get time to show them around St. Louis, go have a nice steak dinner at our partner restaurant, Twisted Tree, drink some vodka. We like to have a good time. And all of those expenses are covered by our organization.
That was going to be my next question. There is some of our veterans live on a disability from the military that can be anywhere from, $1,500 a month to $3,500 a month. They don't have the extra money, and Dogs for Our Brave handles these charges, correct?
We pay for every expense from application to the retirement of the dog to you getting the next dog forever. We will pay for it. So we will cover the flight to St. Louis. We'll cover the hotel. We'll cover the food. If our trainer has to go there, we pay for all of everything that's going on out at their city. We pay for the food for the dog, the pharmaceuticals, the vet care, the supplies, the grooming, anything that dog's going to need while they're working, we will cover those expenses. Now, like if Chris wants to get some Pittsburgh Steeler bowls for Zulu, I'm not paying for that. That's on him. But
because you're a Rams fan or what?
No. But just to give you an idea of what that kind of cost looks like what these numbers break down to, it costs us about $28,000 to train the dog. It costs about $21,000 for the health and wellness of the dog for life. So that's your vet care, pharmaceuticals, all of that good stuff. And then it's about $17,000 for those annual training visits for the life of the dog.
So in your DNA analysis of the dog, I heard you mention it earlier. Can you determine if a dog's going to be susceptible to leukemia or cancer or a heart condition or anything like that would dictate or forbid or prohibit that dog from becoming a service dog?
So the basic DNA test does test for, I think it's 9 major medical genetic codes. And right now our dogs have all cleared those.
Wonderful.
Now to say that something something pop up, we don't know. But if something does, we'll take care of that. We'll take care of the vet bill. If there's some therapy, like Zulu gets hurt and then she needs some therapy, we're going to take care of all those expenses. Usually Chris will just call me and then he hands the phone over to the receptionist and he's like, this lady will give you a credit card. It's fine.
Wonderful. Chris, is Zulu around? Can we get a look at Zulu? Can we get a look at Zulu?
Yeah, one of the things I wanted to say was it was one of the things as far as training wise, like one of the things I realized having Zulu was I would love for Zulu to close the door at night so I don't have to get up or something like that, the bedroom door, because we like things, a certain way. So when I came to St. Louis last time, Paul started working with Zulu on closing doors and cabinets and everything like that. And now it's come to where she's on key.
She's on top of it, huh?
And it's, oh my God, man, I can't tell you enough. Just it's the small things like that, it's unreal. And like she said, when it comes to, every few months you get her groom, nails, all that stuff done. I never have to worry about the expense because it's basically just a phone call. Christina hands it over, boom, 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 handled, done. And that's huge. And like you said, living off of, a disability, the funds aren't massive in any way. So it is what it is. We try and do our best.
Yeah. And you and I have talked, we didn't join for the money, and we definitely don't make millions being a disabled vet from compensation. does the VA, Chris, this question is for you. Does the VA add anything to your disability because you do have a service dog? There's that beautiful dog, Zulu.
There's that beautiful girl, Zulu. You say hi.
Hi, Zulu. Hi, baby. So you're going to have to get on YouTube and watch it, or get on JohnnyMoMedia.com to link to it so you can see this beautiful dog right here. She's amazing. So, yeah, Chris, does the VA do anything for you because you're a service dog?
Absolutely not.
Nothing.
The VA has no help whatsoever with my service dog. The only thing that I've found is, and unfortunately, you know, service dogs are becoming more and more available. They're finding out how much, you know, you could do this and you can do that, but when it comes down to the bottom line, these service dogs are saving lives.
Correct.
They saved my life. They saved other veterans' life. They're there 24/7, and that's what I think the impact that really hit me the most is, like, when I'm down and out and just really just having a bad day, man. And she's like looking at you. I mean, look at that face. How can you not? You know?
I know.
She's just there 24/7, man. And it's just, that's the impact that I didn't realize how much it was going to have on me. And I want to be able to pass that on to so many other veterans and be like, listen, you know, I've been there, you know, from all my injuries and surgeries and everything. And when you're just, you know, and buddies are there, but, you know, buddies aren't there. You don't want to wake them up at 2, 3 o'clock in the morning when you're having a nightmare. Well, guess what? Zulu's waking me up, and she's the one saying, hey, it's okay.
Yeah, Christina talked about that. That's amazing.
I mean, it's a game changer, and people don't understand it, you know, and I'll be honest, at first I was like, come on, really? Like, is this really going to be that, you know, a big of an impact on my life? And I tell you what, it went from here that I can't even see the top, how good Zulu is and what she does for me.
That's great.
It's the 100 small things a day, man. It's a game changer. And I can only thank Dog for Brave for what they've done to me. I mean, they continue. It's a continuous process, growing and growing and growing. And like I said, it's a phone call away, and they're always there, always answering, always helping.
That's great. That's great. Christina, how can a veteran get in touch with you to apply for a dog?
So on our website, under the tab labeled programs, there's a line item that says veteran interest form. And there's a bunch of paragraphs to read that detail out over and over in bold, no companion dog in the house. You will not be approved for that. And it'll also let you know that you're going to complete this form that's online. It's pretty simple, but we're also going to need you to send in your DD-214 that shows that line 24 character of service. And we would like it to say honorable on that line. But it breaks down kind of how the process goes. Once that form comes through, it comes through my email. I'll look through it. I'll ask for more detail if I need more detail. We'll schedule a phone call. And that first phone call, I'm very transparent that we are going to be very invasive about who you are, what your lifestyle is, what are your injuries, what are you dealing with. We really need these soldiers to trust us with their story in order for us to give them the best dog possible. And we know it takes time, and that's why we do work on that relationship, and we have time to work on it because the dogs are in training. But it takes a couple of phone calls to be able to talk about your injuries and your service and stuff with a perfect stranger, especially a perfect stranger that has not served in the military. I mean, granted, my dad served and I've dated military guys, and I learned really quickly that an angry Marine with PTSD and an angry Italian girl do not go together very well. But it's one of those things that just takes time to build a relationship on. So we talk about lifestyle.
Right. You got her squared away. Yeah. My first ex-wife was
squared away.
My first ex-wife was Sicilian. So yeah, I get it.
But we take time to learn about your life. So are you going to sporting events? Are you going to concerts? So now I'm going to learn who's your team, what artists you like to listen to. Let's talk about those things and start working into the conversation the need of a service dog, because we'll get there.
Right.
But it's a pretty lengthy process. After the interview with me, then we will schedule a FaceTime or a Skype interview with the entire training team. They're gonna ask a lot of the same questions, so there's a lot of repetition during the application process. But we just want to make sure we have the right story.
So this is where I think Save 22 can help you out, because we are all veterans, and when we link your page to us or our page to you, they can reach out to us and talk to us as a veteran and their injuries and what they're comfortable talking to us about. They may not be comfortable talking to you about. And we can kind of be I don't know, what's the word I want? A channel, a filter, a go-between, a third wheel.
And we're really lucky. Our veteran partners like Chris Miller and like Roseberry, most of our applicants come from these soldiers that have dogs. And I think they're usually very honest about it too. Like, we're cool people. We're not going to take advantage of knowing your story. But sometimes the like Miller or Roseberry will know a little bit more that they can tell us as well. So that helps. And, it's just building a new relationship with it is going to be a struggle for anybody, much less somebody that is experiencing extraordinary circumstances that they're trying to figure out. We're just going to try to be here, help you, and basically reiterate that in the long run, we're here to help you.
Exactly. And that's what Save 22 is as well. We are here to help you. And we stress honesty, 100% openness. Look, man, I can give you the tools. I can show you how to use them. I can give you the book. I can read the book. I can hold your hand. I can walk you here. I can walk you there. But ultimately, it has to be you, the veteran, who takes accountability for yourself to get these things done. We can help you. We have the avenue. We have the network. We have the people. We have the dogs. We can do this, but you have to take that step. You have to be willing to do the work yourself as well.
And not every applicant is a good fit for our program. So
Correct.
Whatever we can do beyond that, that's not great news. I don't like to give that news, and nobody wants to hear that. But I'm not also going to say, all right, see ya. I'm going to say, maybe look into this organization or that. We're going to still try to be here to help you. We just might not be a good fit for a dog. And some people, it's not even, they might not realize it, or their doctors even might not realize it, but they don't need a service dog. They just need a good trained companion dog. So we try to be very educational with those situations.
So do you have partners or people that you would go to? What would be a scenario where a veteran would not be a good fit for Dogs for Our Brave?
Oh,
where, like you just said, where they don't need a service dog, they just need a very well-trained companion dog. And say that veteran can't take the time to train it, or doesn't know how to train it, or things like that. Would you be able to guide them in the right direction, or give them, somewhere?
So our head trainer does do a lot to help in that aspect, and try to gear you towards maybe some trainers. Now, granted, we don't know everybody, even though we're working with veterans across the nation. We don't know trainers across the nation. We only know so many people, but we can help give you ideas and things, questions to ask trainers, red flags to look for, things like that. But we have had an instance for a veteran that was in and out of treatment facilities so much that the service dog would be spending more time at home with the family than it would be able to be spending with the veteran. So At that point, that family needs, and everybody needs it. The wife and the kids also need that support, that companionship that a dog can bring. But the service dog is not going to be able to be in an in-treatment facility for 4 months where he has no outside help. So now the dog's at home, not working on training, not being with their veterans. So that's a scenario that wouldn't be a good fit for a service dog with our program.
It could be a couple steps backwards for that dog. Now, Chris,
Mhm.
luckily in the past 2.5 years, I don't think you haven't had to have any major surgeries or been gone for an extended period of time to treatment or anything like that, correct?
Well, I had surgeries, but she was actually in the hospital with me. The only place she wasn't allowed to go was in the operating room.
Wow.
Yeah, I got some pretty good, crazy photos. It's amazing when you're in a hospital getting ready to have another back surgery and your service dog sitting there. You become like the greatest. You become like the greatest patient in the world. That's one of the perks about having a service dog, man. It's like, every nurse in that hospital is coming to check on you, but then you realize it's not about you. They just want to see your dog.
Right.
But
right.
I tell you what, they take
well
well care of me.
Yeah, well, we might have to talk to Mama Miller about your time in the hospital with the nurses about that one.
But you know what? Like last time, I mean, she went out there, she sat, and what's crazy is perfect. Went to the waiting room with my wife. She went down in the down position. Elizabeth told her, lay down and stay. And you know what? She didn't move for hours.
Wow.
So I mean,
fantastic
that's one of the things that, they go over and above on certain training aspects. And that's huge. I mean, she flies everywhere with me. She goes everywhere with me. We've only been apart, and I mean apart less than a handful of times in 2.5 years.
Wow.
I mean, Zulu's unreal. She's one of those dogs. She'll jump in the shower if I need her. She'll jump in a bath. She'll jump in a car. She'll jump in my deer blind. It's nuts, man.
Yeah,
I'm very much.
I'm very happy to have met you and Zulu.
It's
a year ago. She's incredible. Dogs for Our Brave is incredible. Christina, how can I know I'm going to have some people that want to reach out and donate to help you. How can they get a hold of you to donate? And be aware, we're going to post this on the website. We're going to share it on Facebook and Instagram and YouTube. And when we edit it, we'll have your information below. But right now, for those listening, how can we get in touch with you to donate?
So the quickest and easiest way is on our website, dfob.org. In the top right-hand corner is a big red donate button. So you just click that and you put in your information and you put in $1 million and then you click send and then we have the money. You can mail checks to us. Our address is on the website as well. It's you can drop, if you're in the St. Louis area, you can drop off money. We also have a Venmo, so you can Venmo money. We can take money any way you can think of it, except for Bitcoin. We're not on the Bitcoin yet.
Yeah, let's not get into that. But you guys are legitimate, no kidding, 501c3, not for profit. You function solely on the generosity of others. You take care of all the bills for the dogs. We determined that it's $28,000 to train a dog and about $21,000 to support that dog over the lifetime of that dog. Can you talk real quick as to the service term of a dog, I guess is the way to put it. Labs aren't known to live, 15 years. What's the transition like? When do we start finding another dog to replace Zulu?
So we haven't had to do this yet, luckily.
Oh my God. I can't imagine the emotional drain
we know which dog, actually Roseberry that Miller had mentioned. Roseberry's dog will be the first to be retired. She's the oldest dog in the program. And basically it'll be a conversation that the first piece is, does the veteran want to keep the dog? If they want to keep the dog, they can keep the dog. We'll still provide them with another service dog. This is where people get really foggy about you can't have a pet dog, but how come I can have so a retired service dog is not going to be trying to play, and they're retired because they can't do their job anymore.
Right.
And they're going to lounge around and they're not going to distract. So if they don't want to keep the dog, we have a list of people that would be more than happy to adopt that dog. But since we're doing an annual checkup with health and wellness, we know where that dog's health stands. We know when we need to start talking about retirement. And that would put that veteran at the top of the list for another service dog if they feel they still need one. So like Roseberry's instance is that he got his service dog. He was still single. He's now married. He just had a daughter. His life is very different. And it's up to him if he feels he needs that service dog still, or if he wants to pass that on to a different veteran. I'm going to say most of the time, the veterans are going to want to continue to have a service dog because that their lifestyle and their body deteriorating, but we will go through the exact same thing. They will be at top of the list. We will match them up. We will pay all the bills. Like it will just all continue.
This continues. That's wonderful. Excellent. I mean, it's a life cycle thing. You guys are amazing. And I wish you nothing but continued success. I'm glad we have this partnership now. I'm so glad that we can reach out and call. And when someone comes to us, I guess before I got on board with Save 22, there was 5 or 6 guys that were looking for service dogs and they had nowhere to go. And Save 22 didn't have a network for that. Albert Wooden, the president of Save 22, called me the other day and he said, that's incredible that you've reached out and made this connection, because I have had people looking for them and now we have somewhere to go. So I look forward to this continued success. Hey, Chris, you got anything you want to say before I let you guys go?
Man, I tell you what, I just want to say thanks, brother, for everything you've done, man. You opened up the door with so many. And I know there's so many veterans out there that are interested. The only thing I would say to people, honestly, is remember, it's worth the time. A lot of people don't understand when they hear a sound of 18 months to 2 years, it will fly by. Okay. But it's at that amount of time is for the best.
Right.
You know, for what Zulu does for me, I know she went beyond extensive training and certain things, from going to a school with kids, you know, learning to be poked, pulled, and prodded, you know, because I had a 1-year-old as soon as I got her. You know, that's things in my mind. That's one of the things, service dogs take the stress away. I don't need any more stress in my life. And with Zulu, it's been A1 ever since the start. It's worth it. But, you know, for the veterans out there, I just want to say, don't give up. Don't give up hope. Give it a chance. If it's there and it's moving forward, just give it time, because in the end, you will thank everyone involved. Like in my journey, I built a family, friends, and so many other veterans that I've seen their faces when they get their dog, and it's what I do. It's why I do it. It's the love of our brothers and sisters, and you know, to live another day, brother.
You actually got to deliver a service dog to a friend of yours in 2019, wasn't it? 2020.
Yeah, I had, you know, one of my really good friends, I've known, John Hayes. He just received his service dog. And I tell you what, to see the look on his face and how they react together and spending time with each other, and to see the struggles that I struggled with and he struggles with, to be nothing anymore because of a dog is, man, you can't say anything else. It's a life-changing event for the family, for him, and for the dog. You know, it's you see that Zulu is happy when she, you know, basically does something. And it's weird, but it is, man. So please, all the veterans, I say, don't give up hope. You know, it is a long time, but you know, well worth it. And if things work out, it's well worth it.
Absolutely. Absolutely worth it. I've seen Zulu in action at a restaurant, crowded restaurant. She's absolutely amazing. In and out of the truck, picking things up for you. She's incredible. And when you and I talk, you know, once or twice a month or whatever we talk, and it's all about Zulu and how you're doing and how incredible she is. So again, thank you to Dogs for Our Brave. Thanks to Chris Miller for coming back on. Reach out, JohnnyMoMedia on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. Send us an email at johnnymomedia@gmail.com. It's at the bottom of the screen. You can reach out to save22.vet. We're going to link Dogs for Our Brave to Save 22 website. The podcast is linked as well on the website, johnnymomedia.com. It'll be on there as well. Dogs for Our Brave is already on there as a link. And I thank you guys for being here and spending an hour and a half with me or so. So thank you very much. And I look forward to talking to you guys again real soon. Hope to see you on the first weekend of May at the hike. Chris, I know you agreed to come down with your Trax chair and Zulu and hang out with us for the day. So if you're in town or coming into town, first weekend of May, you'll be able to meet Chris and Zulu and hopefully Christina too. So thank you, everybody. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, brother.